let's roll. Like, okay, it's the first time we're doing a international show, so strap on, ladies and gentlemen. We have something special in lined up for you. It's like my good friend of mine, semi-new friend of mine, but still a very good friend of mine, Mr. Bruno Triani.
I like to see like people clapping hands, like
Woo!
drums.
Yeah.
After all the introduction, like I was just imagine like you listen that shit later, and I don't know, maybe I could do something very bad to you, and to listen to that like, oh my god, that motherfucker, I really like him, and she did that to me. And every time I listen to this, I remember how bad that guy was.
Yeah.
Like should I introduce myself? Like,
Yeah, let's do a small introduction for the people who don't know you. Get this shit a little bit closer to your face and
okay, now
like,
it feels very comfortable.
okay,
With the microphones, like I'm almost eating this, but no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm good. You
okay.
you know the rules. Like I barely use my microphone in my life. Just that karaoke, like very badly. Anyway, I'll start with how I met this guy here. Right?
Okay, yeah, let's start from there.
Yeah, I came here to Finland, I guess, like almost 2 years ago, straight to Oulu, straight from Oulu.
Yeah.
And then, to study, and then I started working. At the beginning, first thing that I took a look was like, where could I practice some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
And I did. The first month I arrived here, then I had an injury, whatever, stayed a while without practicing. And 1 year later, I got back. And I started rolling here in Oulu Kamppaliklu. Did I say it right?
Yeah, pretty much Kamppaliklu. It's like it's a lot of K, so it's a hard word in a way.
I don't know. I practiced that like many times.
Yeah.
And I started rolling with a bunch of like things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always good to feel that you're darker one in the room, especially in doing jiu-jitsu. It's like, oh my god. And then after a while I realized that this guy like had this kind of like Spider-Man like suit, like clothes. I was like, what a retarded, like the guy dressed like Peter Parker, like to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But that's the good thing about jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter like how retarded it can look. What matters like what you do.
Yeah.
And then like before this Corona crisis, like started rolling this guy, and I was like, fuck, this guy, like it's a good flow, like I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
And initially I became close to Aryan, like the other guy, and then
shout out to Aryan.
Yeah, he's gonna hear this. He's gonna scream like he has some mental issue, but he's a good guy. And then he was like, he's really good, and so talk about you. Then Aryan like left to Helsinki to work there for a while.
Yeah.
And then I started rolling with this guy like that was wearing like the Spider-Man suit. And mainly I think like during this Corona isolation and so on, we didn't have like class anymore, so I was like, okay, you're psychopath enough like to go to the gym, just me and you. And I think that's when it started to become closer. And and to see like, okay, this guy really enjoys like having like apart from the 10 minutes rules, like he really enjoys this shit. And I was learning a lot and feeling so good. I was like, fuck, this is a really good vibe. But long story short, Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu is where we met, and like you came to Finland from Brazil originally through some steps and everything, but I'm not sure if I ever actually asked you, but why did you actually choose Oulu? Because someone actually asked me this, like, because I mentioned I'm gonna meet you later, like, do you know why did you actually come here? So like,
I was in a really bad time in my life. I was like, how can I make it worse? No, I'm kidding. No, what happens, because I came here to Europe like to do my masters, and I could choose between countries like for the program, and I choose like Germany and Finland, and I decided to go Finland for the second year because I thought, okay, where I'd like to stay a bit longer after finish the master. And it was Oulu because like it was the University of Oulu that was the one in that consortium. But honestly, before coming here almost 2 years ago, I never had like I didn't know like anything about Finland or whatever. I never met a thing my whole life.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it can be a culture shock in a way because shit is dark and cold in here. Pretty much like 9 months of the year. Well, almost. It depends on the year, but yeah, it can be.
It's an experience.
An experience for because I think Brazil is mostly warm and everything. It's like total opposite almost.
Yeah, I would say It's like we don't have like proper seasons, like especially Rio. I have this kind of joke because like we call like summer it's verão, and winter it's inverno. But inverno in Portuguese is very close to the word inferno. That's hell.
Yeah.
And usually we say we just have two seasons, like is the verão, like e o inferno, like summer and hell.
Yeah, summer and hell. Sounds nice. Like, yeah. Well, it's... Some people would say it's hellish here also, but you get used to it. It's kind of like what I say. It's kind of like develops character. Like, when you're like... always like, fuck, why it's so cold in here? Like, god damn it. But yeah. We met through Jiu-Jitsu, and then we have had also... always, when I have seen you, we have these, like... nice long talks. Like one time a specialist was like, what the fuck was it 8 hours? Like, god damn, like how did this went on so long? Like, what did we even talk about? Like,
I still think we went this kind of black hole because I'm pretty sure like if it wasn't just the clock, I would say we talked for 2 hours because the only thing I could remember. But
but yeah, what we were actually like talking before, I can't remember. It was some deep shit again, but let's start with Jiu-Jitsu. Let's say, like, because you're a Brazilian, you come from the city of Brazil, you're from Rio, and
everyone knows the accent from Rio. It's funny, right?
Yeah, and okay, guys, you got the guys who put this thing on the map. So how do you feel as a Brazilian to feel about how the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has exploded?
I could speak like this as a good Brazilian coach.
Yeah.
To make it more credible.
Yeah.
Some
Jorge
some cursing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like the first thing that a lot of places, of course, I went after leaving the country. That every time I went to practice Jiu-Jitsu, people ask where you're from, and it's the only time in my life that nationality could bring some credibility, even though it's not connected at all.
Yeah.
But it's always the same joke. Like I go train somewhere, like where are you from? Brazil, and people look like, are you really from Brazil?
Yeah.
And then the next joke is like, okay, go easy. It's like, I don't think it's that much, man. Trust me, we're gonna get the same page.
Yeah.
And for me, it's still strange to say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I spent my whole life just saying Jiu-Jitsu. And then, I know that's silly, but it's strange. BJJ, like...
Yeah.
It feels like a brand. It doesn't feel like... Anyway, but it makes sense.
I remember, like, now that you mention it, like, you always say, like you said, Jiu-Jitsu, and never put the B before the JJ. Like, we're going to JJ, like, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I think in Rio just say, like, Jiu. I don't know, some people use that abbreviation, but yeah, in Brazil, like, even though we all know that came from Japan, have all the respect, but it became so popular, like the way it is, like with this Brazilian adaptation, that no one even say like Jiu-Jitsu and think about Japan, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I think like I hope that the sport gets more and more popularity, because so far soccer is still like pretty much well known.
Yeah.
But I think it more and more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is getting like across the world, and it's really nice when some people are like, oh yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I know about that.
Yeah.
I feel that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I feel like has been really growing the past years, and there has been like these places you wouldn't maybe expect the first, like Australia, and even like some wrestlers from like Russia and everything. They're all like, and there's this Polish guy, is it Adam Warzinski, and everything. Like, people are just like popping up from all over the world. Like, it's getting much more popular, and I feel like it really has the potential to be a really entertaining sport, even though it lacks the striking that maybe, let's say, much more casual people are like to see there. Like they don't understand what's happening on the ground, so they're like, why don't they stand them up and let them fight? Let's put this faggot shit to end. Like
I think it has this huge challenge, like to be entertaining for to know people that's not practicing that. Yeah, maybe some change in the rules. Like, I think ADCC it has been doing a really good work. Attracting way more eyes to that, I would say. But I don't know, like I still don't understand why people like Taekwondo. And it's like, it's an Olympic sport, right? It's like I don't know, like it's like why you still have your arms doing that? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's silly in a way, like because there is I think you can punch the body, but there's no punching to the head, and you're just like having these floppy arms like by your side most of the time, like.
Yeah. Compared to that, I think Jiu-Jitsu is a way better option.
Yeah. And it's something actually, I'm not sure if I had heard it before in a way, but I heard like it's a common joke almost, like in the people who are at Kamppailuklubi, like if someone mentions Danner, it's like, oh my god, and again it's like especially Juho, it's like to him it's like, because I think he owns every DVD and everything and has almost sold his spleen and everything to like pay for them. It's like Danner said this, like, oh my god, shut the fuck up, like. But I heard him say like Jiu-Jitsu is like one of the few sports that has like a clear pathway to victory in a way. Because striking arts, of course you can like set things up and do this and do that, but it's not quite so clear, like the steps that in a way you do to like achieve almost, let's say, certain victory, like getting someone's back and like choking them out with a rear naked choke or something like that.
Yeah, from my side, still I'm lacking all this kind of systematic approach. Like we know that have been trying. Yeah, but that guy really like changed the game. Like I think the way he's teaching, the way he approach everything, and that's another thing for me is interesting, because he comes like from the Renzo Gracie, and he's still like loyal, like to the same place, all this kind of thing. But it's a completely different game. It's a completely different game. And I think it's the first time in the sport, I would say, that someone like broke down at that level, because you get like the biggest names, right? Even Marcelo Garcia, whatever. You didn't see any of his students playing the same game. You get everyone that was trained by someone that was like stellar, and they develop a different game. And and the thing completely changed with Danner. He's not like, we talked about it before, he's not athlete, and he just developed like a very solid game that was like people are just replicating. Like, I don't know, it's I don't remember any other group doing that.
Yeah, because I think when I think about like even our gym, like there's a lot of different styles, so many different styles even within the same gym. And I have also heard like people say that people from Henzo's, like they always do pretty much the same things. And I feel like there is like these systems that you can use in a way, like you said, and it's interesting to see someone like, because that kind of like reminded me of people. I think most of the people feel like that fighting is for savages and like these sort of like really aggressive and dumb people, let's say, maybe almost. But it's not the savages. Like they can handle up to like some level, but after that it's like the smart guys actually, like who are the smartest. Like you said, no one has maybe like before, or at least to my knowledge, let's say, like broken it down so well to like these things. And maybe that's like because you need a guy like we said before, he's like this almost like psychopathic smart and talks like this very calm and manner and everything. It's like, yeah, you can't do that if you're like fucking dumb. That just to be like, not. Yeah,
definitely not. Yeah, the thing that when I try to compare to other sports or other groups, that I just don't see that pattern. Like with go to boxing, like you have like all the big guys, like everyone has their own style, and you don't remember, like for example, you got the great champions in boxing, you don't remember any names of the trainers. Okay, know one or two, but it's not solid. Like every one of them probably had different trainers, whatever. And again, when you talk about jiu-jitsu, we have like the big names like Atos and André Galvão and GF Team and whatever, like Gracie Humaitá, Gracie Humaitá, and again, there is no pattern. There's no pattern. Even Marcelo Garcia, like when you get like some good guys, they're just like their own style.
Yeah, there are few commonalities like that came to mind, like because I have actually been to Marcelo's. They have like good most at least every of the top level guys there they have like good guillotines, and they go for the north-south choke, like north-south choke, like most of the times and everything like that is like one commonality, but pretty much other than that I can't like really think of too many of those. They're all good at passing, and they probably play X card at least a little bit, but that is not like too many commonalities, or it is not like systemized in a way like Danner has done it.
I think when you start like studying his like system, it feels like almost like you're cheating, right? It's serious, like that, like straight back, I don't know how they call it, the back system, like if you get like a few concepts there,
straight track it, but
that's the name. It, like you get a few clues, like even though before spending more time, you just think like that's not even fair, man. Like body lock, trap with one arm, and all to work with the wrist and hand. You just think like I don't know, like it feels, how can I say, before that, like, because in Brazil, I don't know now, but a few years ago, like using the gi was way more popular than no gi. And I think like we talked about that also before, like in the competitions, you see that the Brazilian like rate for no gi is just dropping like drastically for the last years. ADCC was one example. But what I mentioned is I have a sort of variation, like it becomes a different game. And then I remember when I started training more no gi, I was completely lost. I went for one or two competitions, like, man, like just standing with nothing terrible. I'm terrible, like in general, like no gi was even worse in the past. And of course I took some time, get more comfortable, but it's way more popular, I would say, like outside Brazil. And it's still like a kind of like new game, I would say. Like with the gi, we have like maybe like a lot of seasons have like more this kind of like very specific styles, but no gi, I think that it's almost like this ocean, like it's still to be explored.
It is kind of in a way, like you said, because I feel like at least with the gi you can in some sense maybe, well, not totally obviously, but maybe the wrestling is not that much of an issue if you're not like a real high level wrestler, because you can so much more like control the person from the lapels and everything, and you can grab so much better on the person, like you can just ragdoll them basically on the ground, like just like pulling on their sleeves and everything, but especially if the other person doesn't have any training. But with no gi, it's like the wrestling is really a big part and everything, like because you can't like really grab, and the control of limbs is much harder because there's so much less friction because the gi creates so much friction, it kind of like sticks it in place almost. Like it's much harder to like pull your arm out from an arm bar when you're wearing a gi when you're like no gi, or especially if you're like without a shirt or something, like you're really sweaty and it just slips out so easily. It's like, yeah, I feel like I can even somewhat, this is my guess because I don't really know in a way, but like you mentioned, like it doesn't even seem almost fair, but it's something I feel like, because I have tried always, like when I roll with people, I'm pretty much rolling for submissions, like more than just for, well, also because nowadays I'm working on specific things much more, like let's say sweeps and everything, so I'm trying to like put the puzzle to get together, but the ultimate goal is always submission. I'm not thinking that much about the points maybe, but I'm always looking ways to finish, even it doesn't matter, like even if you're bigger or smaller or anything, it's like I'm looking the ways to get to the finish. And it is really frustrating with, at first at least, with the bigger guys. Now the bigger guys, I feel like most of them, they compensate so much technique with their strength that they're doing a disservice to themselves, and they gas themselves out really easily and fast. But at first it used to be like, how the fuck am I gonna ever submit this big guy? It's kind of like, it's impossible. Like, what the fuck I need to do? If I try to do this, he just like rips my arms or like away. It's like, but then I started to do it with some sort of like, even before the Danaher guys did it, because there was a guy, Arttu Jaakola, I think is it Jaakola? But anyway, shout out to Arttu anyway if you're listening. But we used to call him Pikku Arttu, but whatever, like small Arttu, because we had the bigger one who is a Cigano about everything and whatever. He used to do the hand trapping thing also, and he was a smaller guy, so I got it actually firstly from him, but I even more perfect how you spell the word, but I got it much better from Danaher. But yeah, he did the hand trapping thing, and that's the way like you need to do with the bigger guys, because you need to like get much more like fighting your two hands with one hand, or like with no hands also. It's like getting frustrated with all these kind of like, let's say, problems, and coming up with solutions from time to time, and then you just like think it through and maybe try to make it to a system. Or I think somewhat that's the pathway to how they ended up with it, but I don't know, it's just like me guessing.
No, but you said something that I'm thinking now, like when you mentioned that, like a lot of times the bigger guys just use their own strength and and works against him. And then that's one tricky thing about martial arts, like about the techniques, that when you cannot rely on strength or whatever, like size, you become very aware by pain on, and Jiu-Jitsu is all about that, right? Like if you can handle how uncomfortable it can be, you need to think under pressure, and you think like, okay, I don't want to be in this position again. I don't want to have like the knee on my ribs. Like I don't like that. It feels terrible.
Yeah.
And if you cannot just push the guy away because you're not strong enough, like, you think like, okay, that must be a way that I need to do that, like without using all the strength, because it won't work. And yeah, I'm thinking, because you definitely have like the heavyweights in Jiu-Jitsu, but I try to remember any other sport to have this kind of open weight division. I don't remember, honestly.
I think there used to be in MMA like the Pride days at least.
Okay.
Because there was like the Butterbean and like what the fuck is the guy did even movies like, what is the big black guy, Bob Sapp.
Oh yeah.
He was something like 400 pounds or something.
That's
like
true,
big
man.
motherfucker.
That's
and
true.
he actually like, there's a like story I have heard that even like Nogueira had like, I think he ultimately won that fight against Bob Sapp, but Bob Sapp fucking, just when he went for a triangle, was it with armbar, he just like lifted it on one fucking tree and fucked his neck up for his life.
Yeah,
he never got like
was terrible. Like the guy, and that's bizarre because like Minotauro, like he's huge, but he looked like a baby again.
Yeah,
that guy,
yeah.
like a little boy. That's true. Yeah. That, but do they still do this kind of thing MMA or like open weight or they stop?
No, I feel like at least in UFC the maximum limit is 265 in pounds. I think that's something like 228 kilos or something close to that.
Okay. Yeah, because like if you think about martial arts, the idea of the open weight division is really bizarre. Right?
Yeah.
It just like doesn't matter how heavy you are.
Yeah.
And a few times that I did that, I think I did like a couple of times in competitions. Like it's a really interesting feeling because it's like I would say like the most like instinctive reaction would be like, okay, those bigger guys are gonna kill me.
Yeah.
But it's not how it works. Sometimes you win one fight against a guy way bigger than you, and you lose like someone just like jeez. But it, how can I say, like I think one thing that Jiu-Jitsu gave to me, like, and I think everyone can relate to that, has been practicing for a while, that you start like to respect like things that you don't get when you see the person like the first time. And the division is just that, like, and its core. You look someone and think, okay, like maybe my gut feeling this guy gonna kill me because he's bigger, he looks tough.
Yeah.
But if you're able to watch like any previous fight, when you start fighting a guy, you think that's too nervous or like the technique is not good, you think like I'm good here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes you fight with someone that the first impression is not like, okay, this guy doesn't look like that much of a dangerous.
Yeah.
But they feel comfortable, they're calm, and they're doing things like systematically, and then you think like, Jesus, like, what? Or even worse, like I think like one of the most impressive things in Jiu-Jitsu when you roll with someone that's smaller than you, and they know how to work with pressure.
Yeah.
You just think, from where did it come this way? Like, why this guy's on top of me? Like, but anyway.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I don't remember from any other martial art.
Yeah.
This kind of like, okay, appearance is not everything.
Yeah.
To take some time to know what's going on.
Yeah, because in a way I feel like wasn't Jiu-Jitsu like created in a way for the smaller guy to beat the bigger guy, and when you think about like you said in, let's say, boxing, which I think still has the heavyweight in, like, without no limit. I'm not sure actually, but maybe. But what I was saying.
How it was made from smaller guys, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. For if you're like boxing, like especially, or the striking arts, like the small guys are all pretty much always, well, if the weight leap is not too much, then maybe the smaller guy can win. And actually in the UFC lately it has been every time a smaller weight champion has risen the weight to fight the bigger guy, the smaller guy has won.
Okay.
But it's only like one weight class. But let's say we jump 2 weight classes, or let's go fucking crazy and say 3 weight classes. The big guy is gonna fuck the small guy up. Like, the small guy is never gonna have the power to like punch like the, let's say, featherweight to a middleweight. The middleweight is so much bigger, and those are like professional athletes. They are not like these regular gym people. Like, they're the top of their like weight classes, and those people know how to like wrestle and do everything. And let's say if there's like a you can even see this kind of like in Jiu-Jitsu, maybe in like the black belt class, like pretty much always in black belt level, if you go up a weight, the lower weight is statistically gonna lose, but it always depends on the guy and the skill level and everything. Like I think Mikey Musumeci, like he is this young guy. I'm not sure if you know him, but
look like wearing glasses.
Yeah,
look
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
retarded one
yeah,
from
yeah.
the back of the class.
Yeah, like the nerd, like I'll do like math in my spare time, like that sort of guy. But
it looks bizarre. Man.
Yeah, but I think
it's too much. It's like
but I think he actually won the openweight gold or openweight silver from the Worlds or something like that. I think it was as a black belt maybe.
I remember. I think like seeing one result of the fight. The other guy was just giant.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't remember my translation.
I'm not sure if I'm correct about that, but I feel like of course there are like exceptions, but in a way most of the time, especially let's say between a lightweight and a heavyweight, the heavyweight is gonna fuck the lightweight guy up. Like there's no question about it, especially if there's striking involved. Like
I think you end up really bad.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know, like open weight in jiu-jitsu for me, it's of course doesn't define the martial art, but it shows like this huge difference. It's another word. I don't know, even to explain. And there's another thing, like we also talked about that before, is I have been asking that to a lot of people, is why many times you find this kind of a community like around the sport. Of course, like whatever you do as a hobby, like most likely you're gonna have that as a lifestyle. But but I don't know, in that's something different. Like I'm here talking because of we I would say that we spend like so much time like just rolling and practicing. It's not shared passion, right? It's strange because first because I think like you need to be very careful with your training partner. Because it can end up really, really bad. And I think with that, like there's many people just they still don't know, like, or just like beginners or whatever. But you can, it feels that like only from that you can understand like the other person's personality and like their I don't know, state of mind in a way. We have been talking about that a lot. And the other aspect, like that's still not that clear to me, is it's so close. It's so close. What else in your life, okay, apart from sex, what else in your life, like you're that close
to another person?
And like all the time, like, and I don't know, like
fucking sweating on each other and everything, like
like it's I think I don't know if it was you or with the other guys here. A few days ago, like someone said, like, like here in Finland, like doesn't matter if you're sweating, just like ear to ear, like as soon like the bell like rings, like you stop and like okay, that's good, bye. Just like don't even talk and like just a bit of chat after training, but it's fine. I think something there, right? I don't know.
It's I think it's well, it's even strange in a way to talk about it. Like it came to my mind, like there's almost like this, let's say, brotherly and sisterly companion with your training mates, with like maybe the same sort of, well, not as intense obviously, but as in, let's say, military people. Especially during some war or something, like, because like in a way of course you're trying to like kill the other person, let's say, like because that's what you're like in some sense practicing. Like if this would be like a real situation, let's say like a spar, and you would like rip the other guy's knees apart, rip his shoulders apart, like, or choke him until he's like unconscious and even continue choking, like you would be like fucking dead or severely like injured, so you wouldn't be pretty much able to do anything if the other person wants. So even though you're like practicing that, it's like you said, you really need to like look after the training partner in a way. And it's strange, like we have been talking before, like it's almost like the first grip or grab you get from the other person, you can almost feel like, oh, this is gonna be this kind of role. Like, okay, yeah, sure. But it's like
that's true. You mentioned it before. I never thought about that. I was never conscious. But the very few seconds at the beginning, you understand how it will be.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm kind of like, even I can say in some sense I feel like I'm lucky. I'm in that situation where I can kind of like be calm and collected in that moment. Like, okay, I just need to look out for these little spazzy things and really aggressive shit and everything, and I'm gonna be fine. So it's like,
it's fun. I think like someone that WhatsApp group or whatever, they had this kind of like meme or this funny thing, was one guy looking like completely like, I don't know, dumb, but just drinking milkshake, and someone say like, that purple belt is the most dangerous guy in this room.
Yeah.
And I remember like many times when you talk about like rolling with different people, like how some people, there's one guy, I never remember his name, like it doesn't work just saying has short hair and blonde. It's pretty much everyone. But anyway, like I think he's a purple belt too. I don't remember. Like he's always like smiling and whatever. And every time I roll with him, like I just like tap like at least 3 times. And what kills me that it doesn't feel that you put any effort. Like even though he says that's rough. My god, your guard is so annoying. And he passed and smashed me. And he was like, oh, that was good. And like I don't know. You look at him. He look just that guy that just like have a beer in the bar. It's not the guy like that you really like worry about. And it's like that. Like for me, like he doesn't know. I don't remember his name. I'm terrible with that. But for me, that the guy I'm trying to beat since arriving here. Like and probably he doesn't give a shit. He goes there like once in a while, just have a good time. And like he's my worst enemy. Like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Yeah. He's like, in your mind, it's like, I'm gonna fucking kill that guy. Even though that's like in a good way from you, I know, but that made me just like think like, yeah, I think that's what's going on other people's mind also. Like for some people, I feel like they take it too personally if they get beaten in training. Like it's training, like chill the fuck out. You're there to learn some stuff. Like it doesn't matter if you tap a few times. It's like it's even healthy for you to tap sometimes. I feel like it's, if you're always like, let's say, you're not getting tapped to like, let's go crazy and say even for a month or 2 months, and then someone taps you and then you feel like da da da, you're so down, like hello darkness my old friend. It's like you'll feel like you're gonna fucking kill yourself because like I'm so bad. It's like grow up, like you tapped, like fuck it, like
that's a good song. That's a good song for that one. It's when you start that like kind of like annoying guard, like oh my god, I know that guy, what's coming. Yeah, it really humbles you down. Just it's like okay, that's true. That's true, man.
But yeah, there's something like you said about the camaraderie. Like of course, you feel there's some sort of respect shared of like you're actually like willing to do this, and especially if you're like, let's say, competing and everything, it's like okay, you're let's say at least brave enough to like walk into the mats and put it all on the line in a way. Like I feel like I respect that in every like everyone who does it. It's even though it's, to me, it's starting to get like a little bit mundane, like so whatever, like it's basic shit, like but it's like, it's in a sense it's not like you're going there, and when you're competing especially, it's like last week or on Saturday, my brother almost got his like full broken on his, like heard some cracks and everything when he like lost the match, because the other guy, he like saw an opportunity and went for an ST and just like or something like, and he was like, oh shit,
was it like a competition, like just
Oh, okay. The nationals, like nationals were on Saturday, but it's like, because that's that can happen, like
the levels get really really high, especially for like higher belts. Wow. yeah, but yeah, at that level, I'm still playing like
Yeah.
the walk in the park, like
Yeah, yeah.
just like lower belts and just have a good time. Like it's still very amateur. But I think even when you're amateur, like when you go like I think like for the higher belts, yeah, the thing change.
But yeah, I think you're getting really good actually. Like don't, I'm this amateur. Like step up to the pros, motherfucker. Like stop bitching around and do it. Like
no, I'm talking about like a competition, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never. I went to compete a few times, but how can I say, like, of course, like I get anxious, I get like nervous, but I really like the vibe, like honestly. It has been like all that time, even though I think I lost all of them basically. But I don't know, like it doesn't feel, how can I say that, I think that's one nice thing we mentioned before about like how just bring people together. Even during those competitions, like I think like it has a lot of like friendship.
Yeah.
I have seen like people being very kind and it also happens that like you start compete like more often.
Yeah,
you start to see like
same people there, and yeah.
I don't know. I just don't remember having the same kind of atmosphere in other sports for competing. It's usually it can be a bit harsh. You're just like, no, this team need to go kill that guy, and if you really kill him, you're gonna celebrate with a bottle of champagne. Like I don't know, it's because like when you see like boxing, right?
Yeah.
The ultimate idea is just knock someone down, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. Anyway. But in Jiu-Jitsu, like, the idea is not to break anyone.
Yeah.
It's just the other guy tagged before.
Yeah,
it's like,
he
says, like, I had enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to compare because they're different, like, methodology, but when you see someone in Jiu-Jitsu, you just mentioned about your brother, like, really, like, having their arm broken, whatever, like, people just go, like, bad. They're just like, that was not good. It can happen in those parts of the sport, but no one likes, like, the reaction is always bad.
Yeah.
But in boxing, people just, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I maybe had brain damage after that one.
Yeah, it's like, wow, everyone goes nuts. It's like, sometimes I'm even wondering about myself about that. Like, why the fuck I'm like so much enjoyed and seeing like other people fuck other people up. It's like,
I also like it.
Yeah. It's like you see someone like, well, it was a rough video, like you mentioned the WhatsApp group, like there's I'm not gonna mention all the content. I think it's for the best, but like the latest videos of this guy like knocking the other guy on the head, like giving him the finger and knocking, like kicking him in the head, and the fucking sound it made, it was like horrible, but at the same time I was like, ooh, what a nice kick.
Yeah, we understand that like some kind of sports, it can be rough and still has technique and so on. And again, I like boxing, like MMA. I'm not really like following like all of them, but I still like it.
Yeah.
But there's a huge difference about the atmosphere, I would say.
Yeah, it's like it reminded me of like, I think it's one of the few places where I'm like, when I'm going to the competition, like arena, let's say, like, I can leave my backpack here. It's not gonna. I'm gonna leave all of my shit here, and it's here wide open. Like everyone can see. I can even like he'll raise my hand up, like, yeah, can you see me? Like my stuff is here, and no one is gonna take it. Like it's one of the few places in a way. Like the vibe it's weird. I feel like everyone, even though there's a lot of pressure and attention in a way, like anxiousness and everything, like about the competition situation with people, but people came in a way there to have a good time, and they're not like there to fuck around in a way, let's say, because there's a lot of places, like even here in Oulu, and I have heard in Helsinki and everywhere, there's this sort of shit like, I don't want to leave my bike here anywhere unlocked or anything. I know it can be gone, like fucking this. And when I'm on the competition place, I don't feel like any panic or anything at all when I leave my shit on like notice or something. Like yeah, I know it's gonna be there when I get back. Like it's something weird about the community in a way. And one thing also that reminded me of, like, I have heard a lot of people kind of like when they go to a new gym, let's say, like I have done, like when I was in Sweden, and I went to a couple of different gyms, but anyway, they were like immediately like, yeah, do you like, where are you staying, and do you need a ride, and everything, like blah blah blah. And I haven't heard a lot of people like they have like got people from training to like sleep over the first day they met them, like, yeah, whatever, you can come crashing my place. Like there is something really strange about that, even like, and it's all just like this within this jiu-jitsu community, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. Even though I'm not like even able to like explain really well what happens. At least for me, for the last years, like since I left the country, like Brazil. That was a good. Can you hear that like, on the podcast?
I'm not sure.
My God, you got a better microphone. Just like how is that those microphones people can hear everything now? This became popular. This
Somewhere like I'm not sure. I think they just might crank the volume up, or I'm not sure about it, but they're like scratching and everything like.
Yeah, I got super excited. Just a woman, maybe she was doing like a cake or something like that.
Yeah,
but the voice was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is good.
Yeah.
And then after the, like, I don't know, 10 videos, just think, this is bullshit. Like, I'm not going anywhere.
There is, I have, one time when I had some sleep trouble, I listened to some of those because it was something like a white noise in a way. I have used some podcasters for that also, but it can be a problem if the podcast is really interesting. I'm like, oh shit, what? Okay, I need to like learn more. Where is this going? And then I notice it's like, oh shit, it's 2 a.m. and I'm still like still up like. But it was something just like, because it's consistent, and it's almost like there's these videos of like calming waves or something like. You can just hear like the waves coming to the shore and everything. It's like, I feel like some of them are at least that, but then there are like the ones like, I feel like they're a little bit like, why I think most people find them quite disturbing is like, there are like these videos where the chicks are like licking the microphone and everything, and you can kind of like hear the or this kind of like or anything. It's like I think that's kind of like trying to tap into something else.
I think it's just like that's part of my curiosity, but I need to
I need to research this
from video clips like to just audio, right? But that's another topic. That's good. Like we shifted pretty much from jiu-jitsu, like, and we talk about how good the environment is, like to someone licking a microphone. Like, I think it says a lot about the unconscious. It's good. You hug other guys, but it's super good. Like learn how to fight, but man, those girls licking the microphone, just amazing.
Oh my God! But but it's strange. That just like reminded me of like what is nowadays something that kind of like catch attention in a way. Like it's fucking weird. Like I think we have talked about this before. Like there are these like influencers and everything, and I think like how much of an influencer are you? Like if you're only posting pictures of your ass or something like that. Like maybe you're like influencing the sales of lube and like toilet paper or something like that, but and the traffic on porn sites and
it's like one way that I feel sometimes a bit frustrated or when I go online is like I try to think of myself as someone pretty reasonable. For example, I had this Instagram account, and then I was feeling very anxious and unfollowed everyone. But the platform is interesting. Like there's more. They have that's this button here. Like you just click and explore and start seeing random things. Yeah. And of course, there's the algorithm there because when you click, it suggests you all this stuff. I don't know. I have pretty much of those girls in that explore like section, and that's bizarre because I think like I'm not following this trap. And I look at this picture like let's just see that bigger. Yeah. It's like every time everyone is using like all the resources like to kidnap your attention. Yeah. And it feels that like if you distract yourself or like even like not feeling distracted, it's just how can I say? Some stuff they feel like just the appeal like to the image. I'm not even talking like these girls whatever. Sometimes it's just like one guy bleeding after punches. Like, how bad you check this bad? Like, how bad is this cut here? Like just kind of those reactions of curiosity, and it's and of course with the amount of things you have, like does never end. Yeah. And then I think like okay, what I'm supposed to do, because it's like a black hole. Like YouTube was the same. I started like unfollowing all the channels. Yeah. Because every time I was going there, like, oh my god, like look this video, and the like watch later list was
it's like massive. Like I kind of it's the same on Instagram. I feel like it kind of like made me think. I was actually like doing Instagram page for this podcast earlier today, and because it's a new account in a way. Even though it's in a way linked to the current account. But anyway, it was strange to go into the feed. And it made me think what you just said. Like, even though I found this feed somewhat more interesting because it showed me like shit I have like normally wouldn't like see. It was much more of like totally different from what I get the feed on my like personal profile. And it made me like think like, it's maybe not even also always the things that you're interested really, but what gets the interaction, like you said, like you check it out for a second, like because I have like gotten some even fucking weird shit on my feed. Like I'm just like
tell me more about it.
A little. I'm gonna give you a little example. It sounds maybe more bad than I'm leading up to it, like, but I have like always liked, let's say, Dragon Ball Z when I was younger. You know the series. Yeah. And there has been like these Dragon Ball Z clips in Instagram, and I have watched them, and now because I think there is this one episode or one of the newer episodes, because I think they're still making them.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it goes under like Dragon Ball something else. But yeah, but I think there's in one of them is this like chick, and now all the fucking things I see is like this cartoon chick, like every now and then I'm like, and they're like somewhat, I feel like edited to be somewhat more sexual, and I'm like, I don't want to see this fucking hentai shit in my feed. Like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, it's like, yeah, I like the Dragon Ball shit, and yeah, I admit, like, yeah, sometimes, like every other guy, like, yeah, they enjoy like a beautiful picture of a woman. Like, I'm not like jerking my dick to it, but it's like, of course, like,
gets the attention very easily.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of like companies sell everything to us, like with sex and like everything, like sex sells, like the old saying says. But it's like, but I don't like. The algorithm can get like, what the fuck are you showing me this shit and making it consistent?
Yeah, and some. Like I felt that with Instagram and YouTube, like it just felt that. Because I also think that, again, like I have no idea how those algorithm works, but I would bet they do some tests. Tests in a way, I mean, is like just suggesting like things out of the, or maybe like loosely related to the things you're searching, you're looking, and yeah, it sometimes can work. You can get something interesting, but again, like, yeah, I think it became like so dispersed. Like we're talking about this idea, like how to concentrate and try to do something linear, and this amount of like novelty, everything. You always want something different, and the distractions are not enough. Like, for example, for me, like I get very anxious, and of course, all these distractions like it gives some kind of relief, but after some time you realize that I'm not able to have like 1 hour attention span. Like we're having talk about this conversation that we're having. Man, like nothing. I don't remember any other time, at least for the past 10 years, I was able to do something solid for more than 2 hours. Even when you're working, whatever, the flow doesn't stay that long. What's going on?
And like that, like reminds me of a lot of things. Like, how can we talk about in the same time that no one has like no attention span, and at the same time, like, I feel like these longer form things are getting more popular and popular, and especially the ones that are somewhat like this, let's say, and that they're like, there's no fake in them, let's say, there's no like script, and there's no, it's raw in a sense, and it's like human, let's say. And it's, I feel like, because I've heard about like a lot of these things, and I have actually like heard some podcast one time, like it was some former employee of Google, or was it Facebook, talking about like, the algorithm is like supposed to make you interact more, so you spend more time on the platform, and because the platform has ads or anything, so it's kind of like that's the way you create revenue. Like the more like in the way, let's use as an example of Super Bowl and Super Bowl ads. Like, the longer the ad stays on, the more expensive it is, and the same logic like works with this. And the more the people and everything, it's like blah blah blah. It multiplies, and so I feel like that's not natural to the normal human connection, let's say. And maybe that is one of the reasons, if it's, well, there are some things that are really, let's say, humane and everything, that you're not maybe that much interested in a way. Like, let's say you go for a shower. Well, that's a bad example. Like, you can get it through a shower really quickly, but you don't need to like spend an hour there. Or it's a bad example, but in a way, it's not like maybe something that is so human to us, and it made me think about like, what would life even be, let's say, without social media? About or actually, sorry, but continue. I started to babble. Just continue.
No. I'm thinking what you said. Like, about the podcast. I just have no clue. Like, of course, like I think everyone knows like Joe Rogan and so on. We talk about him many times, and it's just bizarre that the guy just record like 3 hours conversation and attracts an amount of people. But it's related. I think what you mentioned, it feels like real, or at least when you have like merchandising ads, it's. I think I'm pretty sure he does that on purpose. We talk about that. Like, it's just like, now there's this drink. It's really good. Drink it, and then he just not even his voice like sounds real. But anyway, it doesn't feel that's trying to trick you in the middle of the conversation, trying to sell something. Okay, it can happen at the beginning. It's okay. It's sponsor, whatever. But I still think that there's a kind of change online about like how advertisement's supposed to go. Of course, like this old school, just like put in front of people, audience, like it still works. But it seems to me that things are changing in a way. Like, if you want like to have, like drive people to you, you should like, let's say, like connect with them. And it could be like through content, like through I don't know, like entertainment. anything, but you're not trying to sell straight away. You like bring them because you're good about something, and then you share with people, and I don't know exactly how podcasts would fit on that, but
well, I feel like it's like you said, think about it this way, like, who are the people who do you trust, let's say, to recommend you some stuff you are going to buy, let's say. Who do you trust, like, with recommendations? Who do you trust with the quality and everything? Like, you don't maybe trust the sleazy salesman who's like trying to get his paycheck to, like, in a way he has a incentive to sell you as much as he can, even though the product might not be good or anything. But if it's someone you trust, someone you know, someone who you think is trustworthy, that person gives you a recommendation like, yeah, I like this guy, he was good and he fixed my car like no problem, and he gave me at least a nice offer, and everything is like, I think it was really a good experience, like, okay, I might check that out. Like, but if it's some like random ad or something like you just see on TV, like, come to Phil's car shop, like, yeah. It's like, yeah, fuck you, Phil.
That's true. Yeah, I see that, like, in a way, like, when people are trying to make the advertisements like more explicitly, like, or this is sponsored content or whatever, like, not trying to fool like the viewers or users. But on the other hand, there is all this trick, like, way to manage your attention, like, even though they can be clear about, like, they're showing ads, but it's like, for example, YouTube nowadays, like, I have used those ad blockers, and a lot of times I just don't see how many ads, and every time I use YouTube without ad blockers, it's like, oh my god, but this is terrible, like, I couldn't use this shit anymore, like this. And it's a kind of strange thing, because I have used for a long time, and once in a while, I think if my girlfriend laptop somehow, I was watching some stuff, and I was like, what? They just put like ad in the middle of the video? Is that happening right now? I didn't know, like, for years. And I was like, but that's really annoying. Like,
yeah, it is.
And I just don't know. I don't think it can keep this way. I understand, like, where you just got used to have things like somehow for free and just But we need to find other ways. And again, like, when I try to frame podcasts on that, like, for example, like, we're not doing straight away, like, to raise money or do any advertisement here, but it's still, like, it's a one way, like, to communicate, like, from video and so on. It's hard, like, to I would say, like, that's one question, like, if you put, like, a podcast on Spotify, they have the same kind of advertisements for free, like, than the music. What I mean is, like,
for podcasts, it's like, you can listen it, like, without any ads. I feel like I don't think they have ads for the free version of Spotify, because I have the free version of Spotify. Like, anyway, like, anytime I have, like, listened to a podcast on Spotify, I feel like it starts right away and it runs to the finish without, like, any ads. Like, unless you of course pause it and everything, but even then there are no ads, but yeah, it can run smoothly to end without any ads. Because in YouTube, I can't remember exactly what was the year, but I feel like they're, like, in a way, like, nudging their way in. Like, first it was like one ad in after every 5 videos, and there's like a unwritten rule in a way, like, there are these, well, nowadays there are even these ads you can't skip after 5 seconds, but they're put there, like, but they can be skipped after 5 seconds, so it's not that bad in a way. but still it's like nowadays it can get like there's like 2 ads before a video, and if you're and I feel like it's even doing this some sort of shit like it kind of like almost tests you if you're interactive with it, like if you're like flicking through or anything. If you're not, it tries to put 2 ads after the video also. But if you're like flicking through any and doing this shit, it doesn't like put the two ads on the end, and it kind of like makes you again interact with it even more, because you don't want to hear those annoying ads or see them, or it's like again a way I feel like they make you interact even more with it, and that makes me in a way like think that well, yeah, of course, advertisement is creeping on the internet and all the platforms that people use, but it makes me feel like how much of the, let's say, social media and even smartphones in general and TVs and everything, how much are they like, in a way, let's say, kidnapping our lives, like without even a lot of us noticing it in a way.
Yeah, I'm thinking now that video that showed from the comedian like Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew Schultz. Yeah.
He said something like one of his videos, specific that one. I don't remember the name now.
Yeah, it's I think it's something like
Tekashi
69 for president or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's on YouTube and in Instagram if you want to check it out. And I recommend to check it out. Like, it's a great bit of humor and also some real and even like somewhat scary shit.
Yeah, he did a really good job. I remember when you showed to me, I was like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Idea. But yeah, and I think he put some good words on that. Like, the currency is your attention, basically, right? That's the most valued currency online. And of course,
it's
again,
called like clout, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You get for free, but we'll pay with your time. And I think that's, I would say, things develop in a way that you're not aware how we're paying that. That's the point. For example, and even though it's something new for me, I think I never put on those words, because the way he frames, like the Andrew frames, he says it a bit different. He says like, okay, like you're surprised like with the like rising of the clouds or whatever, but like you just give attention to them and that's why they rise. But with this, all the social medias and this kind of free platforms, I think that's the tricky thing. You pay with your attention, because if you don't use Facebook, like okay, their revenue from ads is just gonna drop, and they're not gonna keep that platform. They need like you paying attention, not only the stuff that you want, but also to put some ads in front of you. YouTube is the same. Anyway, I think that's the tricky thing. Is just when you mention like what's the balance of amount of ads and content and whatever. And again, like I think it can be like a really good trade, like trade off. The amount of like information got from YouTube is just like unbelievable. Like,
nowadays it can be. There are like university lectures and fucking tutorials to basically do anything. Like, you become this MacGyver even in a way if you like want to. But it's like it's a strange thing in a way. Like you said, because I feel like time is the most valued currency you have in a way, because you never get it back, and you're always like using it and somewhat maybe even wasting it. And you should like think about it like more in a way like you should maybe invest it so you can, let's say, not work so hard in the future or something like that. But I kind of like lost my original thought about that, but it feels like, because they need you, and it's like, there's a dilemma in a way. Like, of course, it's in a way it can be good. It has this good part, like you can learn pretty much anything, and in a way, like, because it, like you say, it's just a platform, so all the content is created actually by other people and not by the platform. It's like, it's this weird communication that we're kind of like having ourselves. We are in this communication with this platform in a way that I think we don't even understand it ourselves in a way. We're giving it time. It's kind of like trying to, let's say, learn us in a way, and everything is, I don't know, I'm even losing my thought. It's kind of like, because I feel like I'm stretching my knowledge a little bit too much, because I'm not like too sure what to think about it actually. But yeah.
But I think that's something there, like, because we clearly had this kind of shift from, let's say, like passive absorption of information with like open like TV and like with like, I don't know, like standard channels or whatever, to more this kind of like, no, now I would like to see like exactly or like be very specific, like and I would say like this entertainment became like just more fragmented as well, like like how many times I check my phone. But again, like some time ago I just started tracking like how long I was spending like with this kind of screen time, and the first time you do that, you don't believe, like 6 hours, like 7 hours. You just what? How? Like hour just 24. Like I supposedly I was working, I was doing, but all the time you're checking that.
It's scary.
Yeah, and then I try like put some limits, but even though like what really bothers me, and I'm thinking what you mentioned about like how to deal with that, it's not even the time, it's just the amount of time to just check for nothing. For example, I said that I just unfollow everyone like in Facebook, Instagram, whatever, but I still open those.
Yeah,
it's tricky. Like I was trying to get something. I think the notifications is something is still there. You cannot follow anyone, but like you always think like, am I missing like an email? Am I missing like a message or something like that?
Yeah, because there is this like in people like this fear of missing out in a way. Like you're always like, I have talked this with my girl also and stuff like that. It's like there's let's say people are asking you to join, like, hey, come party or something, like, come over and let's have some fun or some whatever, something like that. But then you're like maybe tired and you have like a early wake up tomorrow. You have to wake up early tomorrow and everything. Like it's like, do I wanna go? I kind of like wanna go, but am I missing out on all the best stuff and everything? But are you actually missing out, or is it just like, well, of course this can be the legendary time that something like, I don't know, happened. Fucking, you saw some lady give birth like on the street or something, like, I don't know. Fucking something like that's bizarre, I don't know, whatever. It was a miracle of life, like she just like popped it out like a
imagine like having a beer like, oh, I think that woman's giving birth. No, I think she's high. No, I think that's a baby coming, bro. That was a baby. Yeah, you were right.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, there is this kind of like fear of missing out, and you maybe try to like check everything, like, and because we are like really curious creatures, like we talked about one time, like some people just looked up to the sky like and wonder like, what is actually up there and how do we get there? And nowadays there's like satellites and everything, and you can watch live feed from fucking space and everything. It's like, how did all this like happen? And it's in the same sense, it's the same monkey brain even with us, like maybe not as sophisticated as some scientists and everything, but in a way it's the same brain we have, and I feel like these like platforms and everything hack our time from it in some sense. And because I've thought about it, like, because nowadays you can't like live without an email basically.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is like, what's your email? Like we're gonna email it to you, and like and there's like
more spam.
yeah. Everything like here's notification and everything like.
Yeah, notification. That's the word.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, like how would you live nowadays without like, well, of course there are maybe like these some people who are like totally disconnected. Like I heard about some people in Alaska and everything like, and of course like there's in Brazil also like these tribes and everything who in the Amazon forest like who haven't been touched by anything, and they have no idea what a cell phone is or anything. But in a way, like how do you, if you want to live in the society, how do you get rid of the smartphone nowadays, or the how do you get off the internet, because basically everything is there.
Yeah, like yeah, honestly a few times I thought like, maybe I should get one of those dumb phones, you know, it would be better. I'm not sure, because I think like many times like it really makes my life easier. Definitely it is like all online service you have, like it's a hard trade-off, but I'm still thinking about notifications, like it's the problem with that amount of like, I would say like things trying to kidnap our attention in a way. It's just we always struggle like to put things in not only to perspective but what's important, right? And again, like I have been like a very like heavy user, like or heavy like viewer of YouTube, trying to get better.
Me also.
Yeah, and because it became my TV basically, and I don't know, like I was like, what exactly I'm getting? That's a lot of interesting things and so on, but I don't remember, apart from Jordan Peterson, like actors, and Jonathan Peugeot, like also very interesting guy. Apart from like a very few people that I was able to really get like like a linear like understand about what they're talking about and so on. The other things are very fragmented. I think it's not bad, but it just became the rule. I think that's the problem. Is I was talking with another like colleague, like I was like, when was the last time you finished a book like in a reasonable time? Because what happens, I finish like books that I don't even remember when I start them.
Yeah, that's true. I have that also.
One I finished, by the way. and yeah, like I don't know. It's some things I still don't have the answer to. And what you mentioned, like I was, every time I thought like, okay, maybe I should delete my Facebook, I was like, but then I'm gonna lose access like to some events and so on. And I think about the same, like Instagram, delete that, but there's some people that
it is strange. Like, of course, like it made me think of like a one example, like what is, well, I didn't live in the time of like without online banking, but let's say I know people that maybe remember the time that you could only do like banking in banks, the payments and everything, and you needed to be there when the bank was open and everything. It's like, what a fucking nightmare in a way that what is when you think about how easy it is nowadays. But in a way, a lot of things I feel like they're maybe way too easy. But of course, I'm not gonna deny it's fucking awesome that I can maybe, especially when I was in like Sweden, that I could like watch Game of Thrones on my phone and watch like the Olympics and everything and shit like that. And I don't know, I can like learn from like, let's say, those Jordan Peterson lectures and everything like on YouTube. I can like be working on a construction site, be at the same time building a house for something, or like whatever. I can remember at least we were building a new fire station, and at the same time I'm getting this like highly like thought through, really intelligent material, in my opinion, in a way. And it's amazing in a way. Like, of course, like mass communication and everything has like enabled and made the world maybe even better, like, because maybe people don't like take some shit nowadays, like something like, well, racism and everything is like maybe a subtle, well, no subtle, but a touchy subject in a way, like now, because of all the Black Lives Matter stuff and everything. But yeah, in a nowadays, like, I feel like, for me especially, like, I have always seen people of like different colors and everything, and in movies and TV and in real life, like, I feel like it's like racism, like, it doesn't matter what is it come from, like, because there are other types of racism than just by the color of skin. But it's like, it's just fucking dumb. And I think most of the people around the world nowadays think that's just fucking dumb. And if there's some people who say that it's racism is okay, like, fuck everyone else who doesn't look like me, like, or are you sure that's the like correct way to think about it, like, meaning like correct in a way, like we talked about maybe before, about like this thing of what people talk about nowadays, because like who is gonna tell you, let's say, or who has the possibility is the wrong word, but whatever, like, who should tell you how to live your life, because there are millions of interpretations, then who's to say that what's the right interpretation? But because there are actually, if you let's take the rules of life, let's say, I'm not exactly sure what the rules are, but let's say there are some boundaries and lives, and like, let's say at least laws of physics or something like that, that we kind of like play by these rules. So if you take life and it's all these events and rules, there are no like unlimited amount of working solutions that provide good results, let's say. So how do you like, I'm not, fuck, I lost my original thought, but I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Okay. I'm trying to tie too many things together.
I was trying like to get like this kind of connection with this amount of information. Like we talk about social media and different ideas, influence, and you mentioned like how good it is. Like, to whatever, like, doesn't matter where you are, you can have access to everything. Yeah. And then you mentioned, okay, but not everything gonna be useful, gonna be good. For me, one thing that I'm struggling with is like, it's okay, all this information. It's again, like, we got a lot of interesting things and can change our lives. But what bothers me, it's like when I try to distract myself, and it's getting really blurry, because it feels like the entertaining part is just dominating in a way. Because again, like, it's the currency, like, if grabs your attention, if drive your clicks. Because again, like, if I watch like a lecture like for 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, like, I'm not that profitable, like, for probably like for the platform, because I'm very specific. I just want to watch that, and she gives me a lot of ads. Most likely going to download that in some way, just watching different like way. Yeah. I'm not like going around, as you said, not giving too many clicks, and not like, And I think that even though that's still there, like these long videos, like a lot of classes and so on. Another, like this, I don't know, 1 week or 2 weeks ago, just slightly change the topic. I was doing some course on that Coursera website. They have some free courses, just Udemy, whatever. Like, Anyway, and I was impressed at like the quality of those things, even for free. And I was like, geez, this is like, it's unbelievable. You get like, but anyway. And what I have been trying to understand better is like, okay, it's okay to entertain, like try to entertain myself, but it feels that, I don't know, it not giving me a good feeling. It's not a good entertaining. Like, it kills my time, it distracts me, but it gives this kind of like bitter, sweet taste. I don't know. I'm still like trying to find out exactly what's going on.
Well, it's in a way kind of like popped into my head. Like it's no wonder. Like I feel like why entertainment is the one that it's leading, at least for most people. It's clear because like our bodies are in some sort of way tricked to kind of like lay back, to take it easy, and it's like relax, and we go for the like easiest way we can kind of like manage, maybe because maybe at some time when we were developed as humans we didn't have that much downtime, and everything is like okay, if you have like time to relax and nothing is trying to eat you, and you have your basic needs covered, it's like take it easy for a while. But nowadays it's kind of like because it's a this trick and we kind of like get ourselves into it, and like you said, there's maybe this sort of entertainment. It reminds me of like I watched this series on Netflix that's called Hoops. It's a animated series. It's created by this one comedian. I feel like, but it's at the same time I feel like it's a lot of times kind of like it's entertaining in a way, but it's like this silly humor. Like sometimes the humor is pretty retarded in a way. Like what the fuck, man? Like, but it is at the same time it is kind of funny, but at the same time I'm not kind of like getting that much out of it. It's sometimes it's almost like killing time in a way. And it kind of like reminded me of the original thing. Like it's kind of like maybe I'm not sure again, but it's maybe this is actually in some ways the hardest time to like manage your own attention in a way, because there's so much like shit coming from everywhere, from TVs, phones and everything, like because there's already so many things like that are trying to grab your attention, like especially that one example that comes to mind, like especially when you're a teenager, even nowadays, but especially when you're a teenager and you're like all your testosterone is kicking in, and you're like almost everything you're thinking is like pussy. It's like pretty much like you go.
I'm glad that it changed a lot.
yeah. But in a way, it's like you can go like there are already these sorts of things that grab our attention like all the time, and now there's so much more of it, and like at the same time you have like the free and instant access to all the information pretty much there is. And that reminded me of a kind of like a joke that Ronnie Chang, a comedian, said. Like, I'm not sure how exactly he phrased it, but it was pretty much like, did you ever think like, how did all the information in the world have just made people more fucking stupid? Like, it's like, it's strange in a way, but at the same time we have all the access to free information, and at the same time we have the attention to free porn all the time and everything. It's like there's this weird balancing act like people are trying to do others like porn and gambling and whatever is your vice, but there is like a lot of much distractions.
There's two things that came to my mind while you're saying that it's amount of information, how we can still be dumb, and also like how you can have like access to everything you want, like as a kind of drug. I don't know who like was talking about like this idea of like absorb information, and gave a silly, like simple but very good example. It just said a lot of times we have the impression that like we're gonna be able to learn something, or just like just because we're gonna read about it, or someone gonna teach us, or have like someone coaching us, but we cannot observe like too many information, like let that sinking in, and then like change our behavior. I think that's the key thing. It's like Jiu-Jitsu, right? You can watch all the instructions, you just like read all the books, and doesn't matter, you're not gonna be able to master that. You need time, and you like to things like and put it together, that like that kind of puzzle, like. And I think the internet with all this information is the same. Like, doesn't matter if everything is there. It's like entering like a library. You need to spend time understanding those things. It's not like watching those books. On the other hand, when you mention about this, you can have access like to the drugs, like porn or gambling, like. Yeah, I think like for everyone that ever like, I think like at this time, like everyone on earth that like opened like a porn video website, or just did some online poker. Man, it's like a rabbit hole. Once you start doing that, like you just like have this kind of like, I don't know, endorphin. I have no idea about how that hits back.
Is it dopamine or something? Dopamine.
Like it's a no ending thing. No anything, like. And again, like it puts together like this kind of like distraction, like it somehow can be entertaining, and more than that, like can be addictive, like in all sorts of ways. And I just don't know, because a lot of people that I talk with, especially like for men, like that have been exposed like so much like to porn, like since like the development of the internet, it just, I think we stretch like a lot what is acceptable or not. Like if you talk to someone that like, okay, I watch like, I don't know, every other day or something like that, like no one is shocked anymore. You're just like, that's okay. If you don't watch like more than 1 hour a day, it's almost healthy. And you think like, okay, like what exactly those boundaries, what's going on? Like, it's one thing that I have been thinking, like after being exposed to that, like by my own like behavior, I just think like, what's exactly there? Of course, like it's easy to say, okay, like have some dopamine, like you see like something that like affects you, but it's more like on the bright side, it's just you cannot have like much of a novelty for that long time. After like years, supposedly things like start to slow down. Just think, okay, that's just the same script, I got it.
It goes in, it goes out. Something comes out. It's like pretty basic.
That somehow like it helps like just to fade out in a way, but but I don't know, that I think like I would still bet on YouTube as my biggest problem.
It is. I feel like with the information, you can't really understand it truly unless you, in some sense, make it your own. I think we have talked about this something before, but I think it was Nietzsche or something who said like, you really can to really understand something, you really need to make the information your own. Like, don't be like. There are some he had some sayings like some saying or something like don't be fooled of the information you don't own or something like that. Like it's I think it's the idea of like, I feel like how the actually like maybe read book. This is connected in the way like maybe to read even books and to watch movies and everything. Like, how do you transfer the information you're getting to your own personal life in a way, like to understand maybe someone's journey better in a movie, let's say, you need to like really need to put yourself in the character's shoes to like, then I feel like you start to understand really fast even why the bad guys do the things they do. Like, okay, he's clearly jealous to this guy and he's like had these and these things and everything happened to him. Like, yeah, in a way I get it, but you don't maybe get it in that way, but you get it always. Like, okay, he's acting on emotions and things that have happened and everything, and I feel like that gives you a much more a better respect, even especially for the, let's say, heroic characters. Like, if you truly understand, maybe even you have some sort of like more of a reference to this because the way things can be in Brazil, let's say, like the violence and everything. Like, if the situation can get like that bad, it's like that's the real situation. It's not like play anymore. It's like I don't know. I again lost my point, but fuck, I'm blacking out too many times nowadays. I feel like I need to drink maybe some water or something. But keep going.
It's okay. Should I sing now? Something like I'm training like
show them you're big without the camera.
Oh, that sounds amazing. But yeah, like that's many things. Can you get some water for me?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, bitch. And yeah, thanks, man. There's a lot of these.
You're welcome, go fucker.
Thank you. Very, very kind. I'll break your microphone after this. Yeah, that's. It feels that like it's across the board. Like everyone is struggling that in some sense, and people are also, of course, like we are learning. We are like getting a lot of, as you mentioned, like a lot of good things about it. Like some stuff I feel uncomfortable. Has been like a process, but I would bet that this entertaining part is something that I don't know exactly where we're going. Because again, like the same way that you can watch porn and one time you're just like, okay, the script is the same. You go on YouTube and see like, oh my god, those guys are doing the same videos over and over. Reaction, something. And again, I'm not even watching those that much, but you see like everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, like it's like a good book, right? You can have some kind of trend that book sells a lot, but after 10, 20 years, it doesn't stay like music, whatever. Of course, it's hard to say because it takes time. Like, you cannot measure that when it's going on. But the point is, like, doesn't matter what's gonna stick or not. Like, meanwhile, you're gonna watch so many shit, like read so many shit, like so much like of time you're gonna spend. And I don't know, man. I don't know. That's as long as the currency is your attention. Like, I don't think we can win.
Yeah.
Those things, they are becoming more and more sophisticated.
Like, yeah, how do you?
I would say that if you're getting for free, you're paying with your attention. We're gonna start paying for have this peace of mind.
Yeah. I
it's
think
like it's some place you pay not to see ads, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There are like you can do that. I think that's. Even when thinking about it now, it's strange because even though it's maybe, I think it's even in YouTube, it's $5 a month or something for no ads.
That's true. Maybe but that's my way.
yeah.
Through the hell.
Because it's some sense I feel like it's a dilemma in a way, like $5 a month. Like even at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good deal in a way. Like, if you don't have to deal with any ads and any of this like extra shit that's kind of getting your attention away, but at the same time I'm like, yeah, $5, I'm not gonna pay you $5. Like, it's strange because I'm so used to the free shit in a way. We're so much used to getting everything for free. It's like even though it's not really free. We just don't know how to measure like how we are paying, and it feels free, of course. Yeah, it feels like you said, if our attention is the currency, I feel like we're kind of like slowly getting more and more sucked into the like whatever it is that is kind of like this algorithm or some sort of machine learning brain behind it, and it's kind of like, I don't know if it's the kind of like almost reminded me of. Have you heard about this shit? This Elon Musk is doing the Neuralink.
I just heard a little bit like that. Yeah, just makes me critical.
Yeah, that's
I feel strange.
That makes me like almost scared a lot of ways, and but it's like, is it better or worse than getting actually like slowly maybe sucked the algorithms and everything? Like, is it gonna take over you, like eventually, if we keep this going, or are you even joining it more if you put the Neuralink thing? That is basically, if you don't know it, but or if someone doesn't know it, it's like basically a thing, a chip or something you put in your brain that would let you and your brain access pretty much the internet all the time. So, and again, that makes me also think like, how does it work in a way that if you really don't know it, like, are you just like some fucking robot repeating facts and not really understanding what the fuck you're even saying because you don't like own the information, like I was saying, or
we do that already, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to have like opinions for everything, right?
Yeah.
You just read like 2 lines in the Wikipedia and
you're I'm an expert.
Yeah, I do that.
Even though the best experts today are Karens on Facebook. And those are the most scary ones and the most knowledgeable, and
that's true. That's true. That's
ones who call the shots and who's getting cancelled and who's not.
Yeah, Twitter also became like this. Yeah, what rules the world. It's. Yeah, I don't know. Like this Neuralink for me, it's just one thing that I don't know even where to start. Like, but you said something about like, okay, if you have the option, just connect yourself to the internet. Would you do that? Again, like, okay, like there's a lot of pros and cons. Like, but I don't know. Pretty much people. The point with the ads and the suggestions that like,
oh my god,
you're trusting like less and less those suggestions. That's the point. You think like, okay, if the ultimate point is telling me something, how can I trust that? I say so. I can see in your eyes you will have something good to say.
I'm just like thinking about it. Like, oh my god, how is this shit gonna work? Like, it's gonna tilt and get a shitload of viruses the first time a guy goes to a porn site with this shit in his head, like, and then your brain is like infested with all these fucking weird scam fucking things and
enlarge your penis, like pop up in your brain. Yeah. What's how to have a pop up in your brain?
I don't know, but that sounds pretty bad. Like, I don't, especially the young persons, they're gonna be like getting all their brains infested with all these computer viruses, or I'm not sure if this can even happen, but it's kind of like strange. Like, yeah, I think there might be holes in this plan. Like, but yeah, you had something to say.
No, but yeah, exactly. Imagine about this. Like, just if you have like no sort of limitation access and all of that.
Yeah.
Again, like it I don't think it would make you smarter. Like in general. I don't know. I'm really curious to see like this transition that we mentioned before about advertisement and so on, like how people are understanding that, okay, I need to be like this kind of thought leader or whatever, it's the buzzword. Like, when I start to be a reference, then people can hear about me. But there's another transition that I don't know exactly that gonna be. Of course, like gonna always have like business, like selling to business, whatever. But by the end of the day, someone need to buy that as a like consumer, like as a person, like not as a business. And I think the end of this, let's say, the chain, when someone just buys from a company, I think more and more we're gonna buy, even though it's another business, we'd like to see that like buying from a person. And it's why it seems to me like companies are trying like really hard to have this kind of identity, culture, like vision, like things are getting deeper and deeper, even though I don't believe in, of course, in none of them, but it's like very smart corporations trying like to make themselves as a character as much as possible. Like when you think about like Nike, like of course not a small company, but usually I don't think about Nike as like just one company. Usually like the athletes come to my mind, the football teams, like soccer teams that have like the jerseys. Like again, like I don't know exactly how to explain it, but my point is there is a sort of transition happening with our attention, with advertisement, with social media, that like it's becoming personal. Why I keep the Instagram, why I keep the Facebook, it just feels that like I don't want to turn my back to my own community. It's not the platform. It's like I like to keep in touch with these people. What happens after that, what happens like beyond those like boundaries, is what bothers me. But it's tricky. Like it's like that's your group, that's your people. We are here just connecting people, right? And another thing that's happening is just I really thought those platforms were getting turns, like Facebook gonna fade away, gonna vanish, and Instagram was gonna take it over or whatever. But what happens when those companies start to buy Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they keep in different silos, right? And then you start like to just like but what it bothers me, like I'm not even like talk about how many logins we have online, but just how many active platforms. Like I can like just like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like Quora, a bit like Reddit, like
Snapchat
and keep growing,
TikTok and
keep growing. Like, of course, some of them gonna not that be that for that long, but I don't know, the other a few ones have been like solid for a long time. Pinterest, whatever, like. And I think like I'm just adding up, and I don't know.
That came to my mind like about Facebook. It's the first time. I think that's somewhat the reason why they make you do it. Like, if I like, let's say, open Facebook here, it's gonna show me like on the under, like for a small second, it's gonna show everything that is owned by Facebook. It's kind of like shows the WhatsApp logo. It has the Facebook logo. It has the like the Instagram logo and every logo. It's like that's a lot of fucking information for one company. Like because have you ever like tried because Facebook can kind of like give you the records of you, or even Google, they can like if you want to, we can kind of like. You can download them on this like PDF or something like that. I remember maybe one time doing it like way back in the day. I had maybe been on Facebook for let's say 4 years maybe, and I ordered or downloaded the file, and it was like. I can't even remember. It was like a shitload of pages of like log in at this time here, clicking on the pretty much here. It's like holy shit, they're pretty much tracking everything you do on their platform and pretty much everything you do while their platform is open, and everything like what are you doing on the side, what are the other things you're clicking, what are you watching, what is like. If it's really gathering that much information about you, like, I know some people say, like, whatever, dude, like, who gives a fuck? But, in a sense, if someone controls all the data of your life, they have every bit of information pretty much about you that you just, like, have. And it's, like, in most of the, like, let's say countries in the world, I feel people use WhatsApp and they use Facebook and they use Instagram, and they might not even use maybe other platforms at all, maybe. And that's all their interactions are going to this one company. It's like almost disturbingly like what the possibilities of use of power, let's say, especially like, let's say, misuse of power, let's even be more specific, but it's fucking scary in a way.
Yeah, I don't think like some people, I think as far as remember, like some people have been labeling trying to label that like linked to advertisements to talk, but not in that sense like to really track. Like people talk, but I agree with you. Like I think like most of people have no clue. Because what you mentioned about downloading information, I did that like a couple of times, and even like when you go for the information, it's always overwhelming because it's way bigger than you can even digest. The logs are huge. And that works with Google and Apple. I think they're the three biggest ones, I would say. It's not a coincidence that they're like performing that well and how big they are. But going back to your point, I honestly don't know where would be the boundaries like for those companies. Like, and for example, for me, if I try to be very like radical, of course I can cut Facebook, Instagram. WhatsApp is a bit more tricky because it becomes like almost the full like standard like messaging app, especially when you're doing that internationally. And from, of course, YouTube is from Google, right? If you take away like, and from the Google side, maybe even though they have like the fucking search, right? That's the killer. That's the killer, because I can change emails, I can stop watch YouTube, but man, that search fucking engine. Search is amazing. And again, like it's good because it works well, really well. It's really handy. But it's a lot of information. It's really bizarre to think like it has like somehow the power to track every message, every like sensitive information, personal information, and even worse, like those keywords you type like 2 a.m. Just by yourself, like what exactly you're searching. Like, man, there's a lot of like I see like other companies like that like very focus on privacy and try like even Apple like that.
I think that's one good thing about Apple, like.
Because that is that's it. Like one good thing about this competition is like, as long as Apple is making more money, like selling like device, like cell phones and computers, like the company doesn't need to rely that much on like user information. Of course, it makes sense, but they can strangle that because they strangle that to other source. Need to be careful of that because they have the operational system and that reads everything, right? No one, it's a black box. But they can strangle every other person, like other companies, like the apps or what goes through the phone. And that's could be like a huge hit on Facebook and Google. They make the privacy policy way more strict and then affect those ads. It's a smart move, right? And people gonna do? They buy more of the device and make it weaker like the other side. Anyway, it
came to my mind like, what if you like, or I was thinking about like, because there are these people, I'm not sure what's the correct answer is in a way, like, should there be a government or some other like interference if one company, let's say, gets too big? Maybe it's like I feel like I'm not sure if this is actually possible, but let's say one company would control, let's say, 99.9% of other companies. Let's say it's kind of like under this big umbrella, and there's like no competition at all. Like, I think that that's a situation where they could like actually just set the price because there's no competition and everything. It's kind of like really bad for development, and it wouldn't work in that way. But I don't know. Like, should there be, if let's say, I don't like the word power, but let's say, is there a reason or a reasonable explanation for like a company to be like how do you say, disestablished, not disestablished, but demolished, let's say.
I don't know if you have anything like to really like just like shut down a company, but definitely like, I think most of the countries have this kind of like antitrust, like anti-cartel or whatever. Like, even like when the companies are trying to merge, and they always have this like governmental like evaluation, say no, that's too much. If you merge, you can like. Of course, I have no clue how hard it is to find those terms. Because it's always this kind of tricky balance. Like you think like, should I trust like the private companies because they're gonna compete against each other, or should I trust the government because the government somehow will take my interest? Like you never know. Like and the best case scenario, like you always hope that information gonna leak. And the problems itself, you're gonna make everyone a bit more aware. It's like Cambridge Analytics with Facebook helps. It's like and like that like WikiLeaks from the governmental like perspective. It's almost like what goes out of the rules, even though it's tricky because if everything goes out of the rules, then it's too much. But it's almost like the leakage of information that allows us like to have like this take a look like what's going underneath, because we don't know. We don't know. And for this big corporations, the tech companies, is like the same. When something goes wrong, we think, okay, they're recording our voice with the home device. Then that's how it goes. Like because they're all of them in black box. But if I could bet, I would say like people gonna sacrifice. No, that's too much. I would say I was going to say that people gonna sacrifice usability and a good platform for privacy, but that's not true. People gonna go there for the last effort. But I don't know. I think like just a few of people gonna pay just to be private. I remember I saw like I think an image on the internet that was really good. Because we had this saying like for a long time that everyone would have like 50 minutes of fame in the future or whatever, like something like that. And the saying was like everyone would have like 50 minutes of like being anonymous. And it was like, whoa, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like a kind of new norm, like everyone just craving for having 50 minutes of not being seen.
It made me think a lot of like, of course, like this phone that you have, it's pretty much tracking everywhere you go. It's like it gives you, it's always a balance of this, like almost like what are you willing to take for what price? Like it gives you GPS, it gives you navigation to pretty much everywhere, and navigation systems are like actually pretty goddamn smart because they can like figure out where they are and where they need to go. That is some like pretty complex thinking in a way. But what you pay for it, you pay the price of like it always knows where you are, so basically some company or something, they always know where you are and they can use that information how they want in a way, especially like not in every situation, but for some many situations, like you agree with terms and yes. It's like
oh my god, all the time. That's another thing.
It's weird in a way that you do it, but or we all do it, let's say, but it's it made me kind of like think about I think there actually are, like you said, some regulations about this. I'm not sure what they are, so that's where we're just kind of like guessing maybe. But if you like have too much power of, let's say, like there should be, it would make the situation so that you have a, let's say, a monopoly on something. It could be like really devastating, like let's say like cartels are like they're not lawful, they're not
They're not legal.
they're not legal, yeah, they're illegal. Like you can't like take a bunch of companies and they do like a cooperation, they decide this is the price even though that is not like the price, and they kind of like all benefit from it. So I think this is actually illegal. And but in the same time, it makes me kind of like think, like you said, like even though in a way, like why people trust the government so much is it's kind of like astonishing to me in a way, as at least nowadays, because I feel like it's from the all these social benefits and everything that you get, like that doesn't like inspire you to work or anything, because you get so much more benefits, and it's a lot more than that also. But in a way, like because government are also just people, and why are, let's say, especially for example in Finland, we give the selling of alcohol as a monopoly to the state. I'm not sure if I'm not even saying if it's the correct or wrong choice. In a way, like maybe you want something like alcohol in the hands of the state, so it can be like maybe easily regulated. I'm not well. It's not easily regulated, let's say, because everything is almost like in business regulated somewhere or another, and they work even though they're regulated. So there's, I don't think that's the correct answer for it. But in a way, like,
but here, like, the state owns the monopoly of like the selling, right?
Selling of booze. Like alcohol is the.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah. It's just one shop that sells all the booze.
The whole country.
And and it's owned by the state.
Yeah, this is really strange. And
when you even think about, in some senses, like alcohol and what it can do, like why do you trust it with maybe only with one seller maybe? But it's strange. I don't know.
No, I agree. It's really bizarre. Like because when I think about the government, usually the way they sell the idea of trust, of course, it's deeper than that. Mm-hmm. Like you go for different countries, that people completely diverge how they see their own government, but. I think the way they sell that, it's about like through the elections, right? That's the part I would say, like from democracy, that you really think that they are renovating, and they, in a way that's true, but it's like you feel like, oh, those are like the representatives of the people. But what we don't see is just the bureaucracy, or like when you see it just kills you. It's just this all like ocean of people that doesn't change.
Yeah.
Of course, in a few areas, I think, oh, okay, people should have stability, whatever. But like, it becomes this invisible monster, just keeps like getting bigger and bigger. And again, like, I'm not saying that just its own fault, like, because we more and more require from the government, like, to, if not to intervene, like to have a position, right? Like, it's kind of like. How would I say, like, just two different poles. Like, in one side, you think like, okay, I don't like the painful part of just like explaining everything to the government, like feel that I'm feeling like losing my freedom. But on the other hand, like, I can call the police now, just like for whatever reason, and the guy's gonna arrive very soon, and that's like, I don't know, like I can be the weakest person like on earth. But I can still like fight against other people if it's not fair. Yeah. And this other part is just like, I don't know. That's a lot. We just take for granted, right?
Yeah, it's I think that's like reminds me of this like idea of at least what I have, like, what are the one of the at least most important things, let's say, a government should provide for its citizens, it's like the safety to, like, let's say, how it's put in, like in the, what is the document in United States, but whatever, it's like the possibility to, like, for achieve happiness in life, or like whatever, how is it the phrase said, ever, whatever, but basically it's like
Bill of rights or something like that.
Yeah, but basically it should provide you protection in a way, like protection of you, protection of, like, your life, and the protection of property in a way. And property and ownership, and that's, I feel like, basically the most fundamentals in a way that, like, is provided to the state, because state has the force to enforce these rules, like rules in general. They have the power to enforce rules, let's say, like, do not steal, do not kill, or do not, like, attack anyone or something like that. And these are like the pursuit of happiness, that is the phrase they use, but because if there's no, like, stability for tomorrow, let's say, you're gonna do all this hard work and save up, let's say, well, this is just an example, it's an absurd amount, let's say, but you're gonna do all this hard work and save $10 million, and in the end of the week, this other guy is just gonna be like, yeah, that's my 10 million now, so thank you, bye, and gonna beat you up and fuck you up and everything, and he just takes your $10 million. If that is possible, or that is accepted in a way, why would you sacrifice this moment for a better future? Why would you, like, do anything in that type of way? Again, the same thing with your life, like, that is a necessity in a way, but I'm distrustful in the state because of, like, again, the government are just people, but it's kind of like scary in a way to think about, like I said, state has the force, government has the force to enforce a lot of things, like, as at least in the private sector, private market, like, if they do bad business or anything like that, they're, like, out. They don't get, like, customers, they don't get funding, they're gonna, like, die out. But the government has the power to, like, enforce and write maybe even new laws and everything to make something stay alive, even though it should not, and it can, like, use its power to, like, enforce stuff through. So it's like, in a way, I trust the guy who doesn't have the power to, like, force his mind on people in a way. Even that's just my, like, idea about the stuff, about the thing in a way, but it's not just like black and white also.
It's very hard. Like, I agree with you when you said, like, who watched the government, right? Who defines that? And
it should be the people in a way, but it's always doesn't, like, seem like it. It should be easier to, like, break up the government, but
because it becomes so, it's in the same way, like, I think it's similar to this huge corporation we're talking about. It becomes, like, so complex, it's so huge that like you just don't understand anymore where it starts, where it ends. And it's not a surprise that some of the corporations, like, becomes, like, stronger than the countries itself. But going back to the governments, is I understand that, like, and you mentioned that before, it's, for example, like, of course, when they have competition and the private market, like, it, supposedly you get something healthy from that, but on many times, like, by the end of the day, a company just want profit, right? And I don't think that's a problem. That's a problem because, like, who gonna give the profits? Like the consumers, right? But the point is, like, if I go to the grocery store, like, and I just want to buy cheap food, what I think it's great that people have access to like cheaper and cheaper like resources, but I don't want to like track down how the company is doing it, just burning like half of the world. I just don't care, and I'm saying, of course I care, but like I wanna when I'm there not think about those things. And a lot of times all those sorts of regulations like try to limit that or try to respect that. But anyway, like
that's true also.
We like through all these pros and cons, like I think the only answer like transparency. But the point is, we are reaching and not we already reached a point that like we cannot track things back. Again, the same way you don't read the privacy policy of all the services you don't read like the government's like governmental like I don't know reports when they release one, because it becomes like everything is too much. And worse than that, like when you talk about a report or like the privacy policy, it's just something that they put that out like from their own will. They're like allowing to show. When I think about transparency, it's just again like it's somehow what I mentioned before. It's about when have like kind of like breach or leak. It's when it goes like more than they like to show. And I think that's what creates balance. It's like it's a kind of crack. Sometimes even criminal. Again, WikiLeaks, it's criminal. Like Snowden go back to he's in jail for the rest of his life. But I don't know how you measure that. Like from that you get like okay, that could like put a lot of people's lives in risk. Like people that I don't know, law enforcement, like diplomats and so on. They shouldn't have like been exposed that way. But at the same time, it's just like okay, we just become to know that like shit was like going there for ages we didn't know. And same thing with the companies. I don't know. I think I would say like the whistleblower. How do you
whistleblower,
yeah. That it's kind of like the clown from the perspective of like information. I don't know how to measure that.
I think it's something like there are these things that are maybe, let's say, unethical for one reason or another, like, and we want to know if someone is doing some unethical things and let's say even benefiting from it. So because that feels like it's somewhat, let's say, fixing the system or something like that. But like you said, there is. I'm trying to get all the things together, but like you said, there's things that need to be regulated in a way. Again, it's like I said, there needs to be, because every time you do pretty much anything, it's gonna cost something, time, resources, anything. Like the proper answer is in some way. Like there was this like example. Juhani, the one who was on the last episode, and they have their own podcast called Pappakahvit and everything. Shout out to them. Said something like, if you're asked like, let's say, what is the correct amount of emissions? Probably, let's say, at least nowadays, always, most of the people would say like none, no emissions at all. But even though the correct answer is kind of like, well, what are we comfortable with? Because it's gonna happen in one way or another. Like everything costs something, and we are concerned in a way. Of course, if you're smart, like we need to be ethical and kind of like keep progressing in this in a way that it's sustainable for the environment and everything, so we don't shoot ourselves in the foot with like, let's say, overfishing or something like that. And like with hunting, we buy tags that go to like the money goes to the like to the environmental things that go around there and stuff like that. It's like of course there needs to be some regulations so we don't do like, let's say, dump oil to the ocean or some shit like that, but
the balance is the hard part.
Yeah, the balance is hard.
It's always hard, like to measure, like to come up with two things. First, how you measure things, and the second, like who measures that.
Yeah.
And the problem that usually the government like holds like both things, like the ruler and like the judge, and that's what freaks people out. I just don't see any other way that's just through cracking once in a while the system and showing something that's going underneath. Because if you just go by the formal practice, it just doesn't work.
Some people are gonna take shortcuts and everything. It's gonna be like messy because it's kind of like, even let's say in sports, it's maybe not a far-fetched example in a way, like, but I think it somewhat works. Like, there are people who are gonna like work their ass off and work out every day and really try to beat anyone else, and let's say, and there's this guy who doesn't have maybe his passion, but he wants to beat this guy, and even though PEDs are legal, he's gonna like pump himself with fucking steroids and shit, and kind of like, let's say, beat by cheating. The same thing can be like for maybe some companies or something that or this is almost also an example of like how much too much regulation can be like harmful also, like especially like it comes to mind, like for example I think in Finland and many of the European countries, we have like raised the tax emissions so high that the price of manufacturing some things in here the cost is so high that the price you need to sell it with is not like compatible. It's not like you can't compete with it to other factories and companies around the world, let's say, and that's how we actually end up like going with things produced in China. Like, I'm not saying everything in China is like cheap and shit and everything, but because they don't have those.
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
I'm Brazilian. I can say that. You can't. I'm sorry, but
it's
you're being very racist. Now.
But it's like.
As a Brazilian, I can say this kind of thing.
But it's like because they don't have like the same regulations. They can use it with the fucking shittiest methods there are, and they end up like. We end up. Doing the harm to the nature, even though we kind of like thought we didn't do the harm in here, but because the price rises up so high, we can't like we end up like using the shittier produced method anyway. So it's like
that's a very interesting point, because that's another area that I just don't know how we're gonna handle that. Like, we have all this kind of like speech about like being responsible with what you buy. It's I understand the appeal, but I think it's bullshit, because again, like what you mentioned about like from where we import things, like you buy the most basic like needs in your life. I have no clue how they arrived there and how that was produced. Like you buy things like from all around the world. They arrive like and last there one day, but only God knows how that was made. And you buy like a shirt, like we just don't know anymore. Things got so complicated. The supply chain, only God knows how it goes. Like get one piece from Hong Kong, another one from like, and how you control this international trade? Like that's no government. Like okay, European Union, like United, like it's too much. And then again, like, and on that sense, like I'm not sure, like, because we talk about this kind of like leak of information from governments and corporations. But when you talk about business, all the interaction, of course, once in a while you get some information. Oh, that company was like, I don't know, like have fucking slaves, this kind of like things that you don't believe that's still happening. But I think for the business, like especially like between countries, like I think this is the black box that I don't know how to crack that, because no one has the interest. And I don't know, like by the end of the day, even though like we start the conversation criticize the media, it's up to them. It's like why reporters like are allowed to use like illegal information from the source, because they are just dealing with the information. But yeah, I think that's the only thing. Like,
but I think it's the media, like you said, it's somewhat the answer. But
it's bizarre, right? It's not like just saying bad things about the media, but they're like, oh, okay, those reports, like they need like to check those stories, right?
Put everyone in row, like. But it's like it is somewhat the answer, but I feel like the problem with journalism and media today is like, I feel like the level of journalism has went down roughly like the last years. I think it has something to do with like social media and these fucking clicks and everything being the measurement of like advertisement funds and everything like that, because like clicks are pretty much money. Clicks and share views and shares and all these things are like, they kind of like get money, and that's like, you need to like pump out every day almost something that it's like shocking or something, whatever gets people's attention. And that's kind of, I feel like we have almost excluded like this sort of investigative journalism, like, and quality journalism that might take days and stuff like that. And I think we see so much less about that today, and writing these clickbaity shitty articles about, I don't know, fucking bananas taped to a wall and everything like that gets so much more attention and money. It's like you kind of like weed out the good ones.
Yeah, but it's tricky, right? Because like, everyone was paying for journals, physical journals. That was the rule. No one questioned that. You get the information, pay for that. Who wants to pay for a journal nowadays? No one. I don't want to. I don't want to.
I will like want to.
And then I think, okay, how you keep those people if they're not? And again, they become like another like clickbait, as you said.
I think I would be like, I would pay for good, and I say, what is the word? Fuck. No sides, like no left, right, like.
Kind of like I forgot that.
I'm blanking out on the word, but
impartial or something like that.
It doesn't like have, it doesn't drive any political opinions or anything, but it's
but it's hard, like it doesn't happen, right?
Because I feel like there are like even paid like journals that do this, like they have like mostly, let's say, clearly a leftist agenda, or not maybe the whole magazine, but you can see like it's like
I think it happens like for both sides,
writing with the
for both sides.
Popular opinions in a way, or not popular opinions, but that is like trending on Twitter, let's say.
I think it applies the same questions like for the other platforms. It's just like, if you want everything for free, what exactly are we willing to give up?
Because there is no free.
But we got used to that, man. I got used to that. I don't want to pay any shit. Like, I just my subscriptions, like what I pay is just like, okay, what is really like necessary that I not really necessary, what I cannot access like any other way. There's no like going around without, because I was thinking about one example, for example, Spotify, right? That is all these great platform, or it could be any other one that everything's online, like on my library, and like I don't need like to storage that anywhere. But I pay for the usability. I don't pay for the songs because some time ago, before the Spotify, I was having like gigabytes and more gigabytes of music. I didn't care. Like I'm being very sincere here. I didn't care. I just like got from all kinds of sources, just hide them up in my computer. I just felt like that's okay. That's the internet. I just download this. Like I don't hurt anyone. But then Spotify came, and I was not thinking, oh no, I'm gonna pay for this because that's like gonna give the money like to the producers. Like it just felt like no, this way to listen to music is way better. Like I'll start paying like for the platform, not like for the music. What I'm trying to say is that how easy the information like or like all kind of like let's say like sources we get nowadays got so easy to access that we just don't know how like to make money from that. The only answer so far has been like advertisement, but it's just killing us at the same time. It's a kind of like deadlock. We don't know. We don't know. It, like the media that you mentioned, the journal was the first one to feel like the heat. Like okay, we're not going nowhere. People stop paying for us, and they don't want to consume it or spend that much time.
I'm not sure what is the right answer, but I have been thinking about it like, and I'm giving this out to you. It's like idea I have like to maybe try to save journalism in a way. I'm not sure how it would actually work and how it would be made functional and what are the right measurements to use. But I was thinking about some sort of like platform for media. Like it would be like, let's say, this Pinterest type of thing in a way. Like it gathers all the news about some stuff. You can kind of like maybe choose some topics and everything, and it would gather all the sources that have like wrote about it in a way. And it would be maybe there would be like on the top of the, let's say, some sort of wall like on Facebook or some sort of like whatever, on top of the page there would be like, in some sense, I'm not sure what will define, but the most like popular or most meaningful news of the day, and then you could start scrolling from under it, and then you would have some sort of it would need some sort of review system in a way. Like it wouldn't be so much about the clicks, and let's say much more about the time read, or maybe not even time read, or something like how did this reading this news made you feel. Maybe not even feel, but in a way would be something like, what is your response to this? How would you like maybe recommend this to someone after reading the headline and after reading the actual thing? Do they kind of like correlate on, just to like maybe try to weed out the shitty like clickbaity things and try to have like different perspectives on some like things, and let's say there would be like leftist opinions and rightist and then centrist and everything like all over, and it would be like this some sort of like platform for journalism, and it might not could be it could be maybe even free, or maybe you pay for it or something, but some sort of idea like that, I think it would have some sort of potential to actually like maybe clean up the journalism, let's say.
Yeah, I never heard about this idea. I'm thinking here like how that could be, because one thing that has been challenged for me, like I have a few websites, I feel like journals that I sometimes just take a quick look.
Yeah.
But every time I try like to compile, like just put together like some topics for the Google News or whatever, like Apple News, it just becomes like, it's maybe the technology is not that good. Like it just becomes like really bad. Like even when I try to craft that a very specific way, I read like for 1, 2, 3 days, and if I okay, this is really bad. But what you mentioned is not, if I understood correctly, is not about topics, about how relevant something could be.
Yeah.
That could be interesting, because one thing that I'd like to see again, as you also mentioned, I don't know if it would pay or not, is just read things that could have impact like for more than like say like 5 years. Exactly someone's talking about, like telling a story that could be relevant more than just like headlines and news like for the day of the week or the year.
Yeah.
And that would be something interesting if you can gather topics. But again, like it always become, by the end of the day, like who measure that, how you measure that.
Yeah, that is the most important thing.
Yeah, and
because you usually get what you're trying to measure.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to describe. That gave me a lot of thoughts right now. Yeah. But yeah, one last thing is just one movement that I have been seeing is just some magazines instead of like journals, on some very specific magazine, and really focus on this idea like, okay, we're gonna just send once a month. And that's all, and not trying to catch up or like send you like, I don't know, The Economist like 4 times a week. Yeah. That's the way it is. We're gonna do that once a month. Maybe you're gonna be late about something. That's okay. We're gonna talk about topics like not about. It's and I also noticed that a lot of people just like giving up with the headline. Just I'm not going anywhere. And I agree. Yeah. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna give you some information that's gonna be used for a few minutes, but like in 1 week it's not even there anymore in your head.
Yeah, that is true, and that is interesting, and I feel like that would like synthesize, or what is the word? I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but like make you work for the more of the quality, not the quantity. Like make something that is actually like meaningful or has something to say. Then like, yeah, there is this video of this panda where he's walking, and this is mainstream news. Like, what the fuck? In a way, but yeah.
That's a issue that like, even like in very let's say trustworthy or like good like website news, and even go to like BBC or like TW Germany, like you see this kind of things you just described, like it's everything mixed up. It's just what like, and many times I have like really good content, but it just became the norm. Like they need to have those stories, they need to have those and sometimes I click on that.
yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's the disturbing thing, man. Disturbing thing. But again, I just don't want to pay for anything.
Yeah.
And I complain. But the problem is like, I still need to put more thoughts on that, but I never made this link about like complaining, not want to pay, and then feel like frustrated how much I get distracted online.
Yeah.
And it's very, very well connected, it seems. It's just like, okay, I want for free, but if you show me an ad, I'm gonna be annoyed, right?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's funny because when I'm the business side, I just think like, it's not for free. Why are you complaining? Like, but I'm the user, like, no, everyone gives for free. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine, man. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just checked the clock, so it's almost 20 past 12 or something like that.
How long we were talking?
We have been talking for 2.5 hours for
Jesus Christ. Okay, like we reached the like Joe Rogan limit.
Yeah, we have reached some nice lengths but I could do this for hours and hours, but I feel like maybe I know I have shit to do tomorrow, and maybe you too also. So
that's a good time. Okay, we can like do like a summary in 2 minutes. They just released the summary.
So Jiu-Jitsu and fixing the media and fixing the world and all sorts of finding the balance between a lot of things and what is the, I don't know, in a way it's like trying to summer things up. It's like use your own brain and try to find, well, don't take things as black and white, and try to find the other opinions and other things that might be relevant for each topic that you're even talking about or something. It's like, it's hardly this or that, it's usually something that's in the between or something like that, and I don't know, something like that.
I disagree, but that's for the next.
That's good. But you can like summer anything up and.
No, I was joking when I asked you that. Honestly, I was expecting you could do that. I was like.
I'm just trying to like remember everything, whatever. But do you want to leave anything for the listeners? Something to say? Some life wisdoms or like your.
It's funny.
So like, accounts or anything like
someone asked
information.
Like, to send a message like I'll send a message to ourselves, like me and you in the future, right?
Yeah.
Because you're moving. I don't know if you're gonna move or not. Like,
yeah.
I'd like to hear these like in a few years later.
Yeah.
And yeah, gonna be interesting. Like to listen, like having a message for ourselves in the future. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. That is something. Like message to yourself in 2 years.
In 2 years.
Oh, was it 2 years or what?
No, I don't know. Like, okay, Bruno, you need to have a child. Like, don't forget that. You're postponing for a while. You know that you want that. Okay, don't forget that. Don't be an asshole. I think that's one good message to myself.
Yeah.
You like to be a father. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier, but
don't fool yourself with all this stuff. That's your priority. Yeah. Okay, get some money. That's good too.
That's good. I can't think of maybe what I'm thinking. Do the things you really feel you need to do and be bold about, and don't take shit from no one, and try to like do what you're fucking dreaming about and something like that. See where it gets you. Like, what if you're wrong and find something else to do. But if you're right, then it could be like pretty fucking sweet. So go for it, you motherfucker. But yeah, that's for me.
That's gonna be interesting.
But yeah, thank you, man. This was a pleasure.
Man. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, and I'll good luck with the job things you mentioned earlier and anything, and we'll see again.
Cool. I'll not like give up on you and not leave you like in peace.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you everyone, and we are out.